An important feature of Toolbox is the address book. The address book allows you to maintain a list of devices that you communicate with frequently. The addresses are saved in an ADR file, allowing you to easily share address books and edit, remove, or import addresses. Addresses can be used for devices using a wide range of protocols, including RS-232, TCP/IP, USB, RF for wireless devices, and indirect devices, such as CrustNet, Infinet, and slot-loaded devices. Before a control system can have any functionality, communication between the device and the PC must be established. This is so that all of the latest firmware, project, and touch panel files can be uploaded, and so that later the system can be monitored and tested until it is functioning properly. The following are the assorted connection types in which the different Crestron processors and devices can communicate with a PC. Serial communication using RS-232, Ethernet communication via TCP/IP and Telnet are methods available only if the device supports Ethernet, USB on some of the newer products, or CrustNet, available for a processor only if it is operating in CrustNet slave mode. It is important to note that no matter which method is used, initial communication between the processor and PC must be established using RS-232 or USB depending on the processor. Although some Ethernet-enabled devices will ship with a default IP address or with DHCP enabled, this is not the norm. To establish this connection using RS-232, connect the computer port on the processor to one of the COM ports on the PC using a straight-through DB9 male-to-female serial cable. To add a 232 device, open the address book and click Add Entry. Type the name of the device in the name field, then click RS-232, and select the appropriate COM port. Not all computers use COM port 1, so check on your specific model. The default serial settings of the 2 series processors are 115/200 baud rate, but you can leave this at auto detect, none 8 and 1 for the parity, data, and stop bits, and we'll leave on the hardware handshaking RTS-CTS option, but not the software X-on X-off. To add a device that uses Ethernet, open the address book and click the Add button. Type in the name for a device and select TCP as your connection type. Enter the device's IP address as appropriate. In this dialog are also entry fields for a port number in case you are using port forwarding on a router to gain access from outside the network. If you are not using this feature, Toolbox will assume the default port of 41794, but if you have changed it, enter it in here. Also available is the ability to set a password for anyone trying to gain access through this address. This can be changed or disabled using the serial connection in case it is lost or forgotten. The device type is typically left on auto detect unless you are connecting to older devices. Several devices now ship with a USB port for PC communications, making uploading faster and easier. When adding 2 or more USB devices of the same model, the host name and/or serial number is required, in addition to the model name. If you are only connecting to one Crestron USB device, then the search fields can be left blank. For slot-loaded CrustNet or Infinet devices with no console support, you can establish communication using the indirect method. Simply select the ID of the hardware using the appropriate method, and then using the drop-down menu, select the processor you are connecting through. Be sure to note that you will need to add the main processor as an address book entry before you can select it from the pull-down menu. I want to mention one more feature of Toolbox, and that is the ability to create a pass-through connection to a serially connected device for the purpose of sending text commands or launching software to configure a device without rewiring the system to do so. For this, we use the indirect connection type and select the COM port on the back of the processor that our device is connected to. Set up the baud rate parameters defined in the manufacturer's manual, and then, again, make sure to select the address that you are connecting through. Now the processor will stop running its program and give you direct access to the device on that port, as if you were connected straight from your laptop to the device. So if I need to send a text command to a projector to disable the sleep mode, I will launch the text console tool and simply type the command. Here's one more useful trick. If you need to test a batch of commands to make sure you have the right format, you can use a tool under the text console menu to edit sequence keys. From here you can add commands that, for instance, when you press Ctrl F1, will send it as a single command, because typically you can't type fast enough for the devices to understand. There are even a few shortcuts that you can use for unprintable characters like \R for a carriage return. Notice that there are also a few predefined commands to send firmware, programs, and so on. So now if we close the dialog box and press Ctrl F1, we can see if the projector actually turns on.